We have come to I've really enjoyed Ecclesiastes. I've enjoyed this study so much. I'm so glad that we did this and you guys went along with me, and it's been so much fun. We're coming to the end of it, though, and since we're not going to have this particular Bible study for the next few weeks, I figured we would just try to get to the end, I guess is the best way, yeah. So we're going to do something a little crazy tonight. We like half of chapter 10, chapter 11, chapter 12. We're going to start in chapter 12 and work our way backwards, okay? So how many of you know if we start in chapter 12, we will get finished? Okay, so that's for sure. If we don't, we probably won't. I remember that one study we had in here, we did one verse. I thought it was two, but it was actually one. So we don't want to be guilty of that tonight because we're going to try to get done with that. So if you have your Bibles, turn to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12. Solomon, you can tell he's old when he's writing Ecclesiastes. You'll really see it tonight. But can you think of one of the themes that he's talked most about in this book? Death. I mean, when you get old, man, you start thinking about that, don't you? I mean, really, you start thinking about that. So he's talked a lot about it. You'll see even more about it tonight, not particularly about death, but so anyway, it's kind of funny when you see this going on. He's aged. He was young when he wrote the book of Proverbs, middle-aged when he wrote the Songs of Solomon, and now you can just tell he's old here, and that's cool. We're getting the whole vantage point, I guess, of his whole life. So we see that going on. Chapter 12 is essential for the conclusion of the matter, though. So we're going to look at that tonight. By the way, does anybody know how old Solomon was when he became king? Want to take a guess? Who said 18? So, the most scholars believe he was somewhere between 14 and 17. I should have said, is that your final answer? Because you were so close. But can you imagine becoming king at 14 or 17? And so he offered up all these sacrifices to God, and it so pleased God that God asked him, tell me what you want and I'll give it to you. How about that, y'all? Wouldn't that be great? Tell me what you want and I'll give it to you. And Solomon is so young that he says, give me wisdom. I don't know how to come in or go out. I don't know how to lead this great people, so give me wisdom. And God was so impressed with that answer, with that desire, that he said, okay, I'm going to give you wisdom like no one's ever had before you or no one will ever have after you. And I'm also going to give you all the stuff you didn't ask for. Long life, riches, wealth, fame, all that kind of stuff. I'm also going to give you all of that. So Solomon demonstrated incredible wisdom for many, many years. And we see that in the book of Proverbs. Anybody enjoy reading Proverbs? Are there any of you that reads the Psalm and the Proverbs still every day? Like that's how you approach the Bible, and then you go back to your regular reading. That's a cool way of doing it. So anyway, he wrote the book of Proverbs, and you just see all the wisdom that he has going on in his life. And then as he got older, he started marrying these foreign wives. And I don't know exactly how this worked, but y'all ever seen the movie The King and I? Yeah. It's an older movie, but a lot of times I think probably there's some truth to some of those movies. A foreign country would give a beautiful woman to the king, and he would add that to his wives. And so Solomon ended up basically with 1,000 wives. So 700 and 300 concubines and wives. So 700 wives. Now, I'll tell you how crazy that might seem. We were with the queen of the Zulu nation, Tina and I, and a group that was with us. Some of you, Paul, was with us, and maybe some others. Anybody else in here, you was with us? Oh, that's right. Okay, good. Anyway, we was with the group of the queen of the Zulu nation, and they was telling us about a story about the king one day was in a sector of their society, and he saw this beautiful girl, and he told his servant, go get her for me to wife. You remember this story, baby? And so anyway, the guy went and said, the king wants to marry you. She goes, I'm already his wife. So my point is this. When you have that many wives, you don't know how many wives you have, okay? It's like, So anyway, so something happens. The Bible lets us know that these foreign women started turning the heart of Solomon away from God and towards other styles of worship, other gods, other beliefs, other philosophies. They started turning his heart away from God and started turning his heart towards other ways of worshiping. Let me ask you a question. This I actually do want to answer. How did they turn his heart away? How do you suppose that happened? How did they turn his heart away from God to other gods?
They asked him to build monuments and all the stuff, and he did it time after time, all over.
So if you worship Molech, they would ask him to build a temple to Molech or Ashtaroth or whoever. He would start allowing things that he should have never allowed. And also, if you really love somebody, you remember Samson? Remember she said, if you really love me, you'll do this and you'll do that. And you'll tell me the secret of your strength. And of course, he lied to her multiple times. But anyway, they turned his heart away. Now, I want you to think about this for a minute. There's so many different countries and so many different religions and so many different styles of worship, so many different gods. For example, in the time of Christ, we see that they had just a few of them that we're aware of. They had Judaism, idol worship. How many know they were often turning to idols? They had false gods, ancestral worship. China's been around a long time. Atheism, Baal, Ashtaroth, Dagon, Molech, just to mention a few. And Rome believed who was God? Pharaoh, Caesar. So they believed he was God. So they have all these different types of worship going on. What about now? Can you imagine how many different types of gods and deities there are in the world today? I read it was millions. I can't put my thoughts around that. That's just too big for me. But I do know that you have, just for example, you have Jesus, Baal, Buddha, Hindus, many, many more. Today there are thousands of over 10,000 different distinct religions in the world today. Over 10,000 religions in the world today. Think about that. Over 10,000 religions today worldwide. A few of the major ones is Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hindu, Buddhist. But beyond that, when you think about it, in the time of Jesus, there were all of these. Even the Judaism didn't believe the same stuff. Like you had the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and they couldn't agree with each other, and so on and so forth. How many different Baptist groups do you think there are? How many?
10.
25, 30, 35, 45, 65. How did there get to be 65 different Baptist groups?
Disagreement in the church.
Exactly. They couldn't agree. So the weirdest one I ever heard of was a long time ago when they were doing foot washing. Anybody remember those days? Aren't you glad those days are over? Man, you had to wear good socks to church every time because you just never knew, right? It could be a bad day, right? But anyway, so this one group of people said that you should wash the left foot first. And the other said you should wash the right foot first. So a group of people broke off, this is a true story, and started the Left Foot Baptist Church. They couldn't agree. Solomon started marrying all these women, and they started having impact on his philosophy, his belief, his belief in God. Listen, one of the things that we need to know is what is the truth? When you think about all of this disagreement and over 10,000 religions and all of these different groups and organizations and all this stuff, what is the truth? I just wrote this down on my paper because I have a very simple mind, but 2 + 2 equals what? That's just truth right there. Okay, that's truth. But 2 plus any other singular thing in the world will never equal 4. Let me say it again. 2 plus any other singular thing in the world will never equal 4. That means the truth is pretty narrow. So what is the truth? Here it is. It's God's word. It's the Bible. So watch what we do. Watch what happens with people. Islam, their religion, takes part of the Bible and then they add the words of their prophet, and you got 2 plus we don't know what else equals we're not absolutely sure. The Church of the Latter-day Saints, or we might know them better as Mormons, they take part of the Bible. They say, we believe in the Bible, but then they take Joseph Smith's writing and they add 2 plus we don't know what equals we don't know what. Jehovah's Witnesses do the same thing. Many other groups do the same thing. And even those of us who say we believe in the Bible, we end up saying a lot of times we believe in the Bible, but, or I know the Bible says this, but, or I don't really believe that's what it means, or but, and we end up with a 2 plus we don't know what equals we don't know what. Let me help you out here. Jesus told us, the Word of God tells us over and over again, thy word is truth. The ideal is believe in the Bible. And I just want to say it a little more sound than that too. When you think about it in terms of what we're talking about, not the Bible plus whatever the Assemblies of God believes is correct. No, not the Bible plus whatever the Baptist believes or can't believe or whatever. No, what the Bible believes, period. This is truth. This is truth. What you hold in your hand is truth. That's so important to realize because Jesus said there'll come a time, Paul said too, there'll come a time where people will not adhere to the truth. And they will turn to fables. They'll turn to philosophies. They'll turn to people's ideals. They'll turn to all of these different things and we'll end up with 10,000 different religions. We got to be careful to walk in the truth. Hold on to the truth. Know the truth. The truth will what? That's right. The truth will set you free. So Solomon, he started off really, really good. And then he got off course for a long, good while. And Ecclesiastes tells us all about it. He went in a search and he searched with money, wine, women, song. He didn't hold himself back from anything. And he said in the end, he didn't find it. He didn't find what he was looking for. He never found what he was looking for. And he was a guy who could afford it. If it was out there, he could have it. He tried everything. That's what he tells us. And he couldn't find what he was looking for. So then he comes back in chapter 12. He comes back basically to himself. He's old now. And he's going to give us the conclusion of the matter. So I said all that to prepare us to read this, okay? This is so funny stuff, y'all. Are you ready? Ecclesiastes 12. Now I'm going to use the King James and the NLT, so I'm going to use my phone also. So here we go. Let's look at verse 1, and I'll read it in the King James first. Remember now your Creator in the days of your youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when you shall say, I have no pleasure in them. He's not talking necessarily about people doing evil things. He's really actually talking about the days when you can't do what you used to. Okay? Look at it in the NLT. Don't let the excitement of your youth cause you to forget your Creator. Honor Him in your youth before you grow old and say, man, life isn't pleasant anymore. Wow. So he's old now. He's not writing this in theory. He's writing this by experience. And he says, look, get your stuff together while you can, while you're young, when you can be the most productive for God. Come on, somebody. Get your act together while you're young, where you can be the most productive for God, when you can make the most difference in your life. And don't wait until you're old and you're, no disrespect on any of us, but don't wait until you're old, till you're tired, till everything is hurting, until most stuff doesn't work anymore, until you hurt all over and you don't feel like it. Gotcha. Go ahead and laugh. It ain't funny. All right. It ain't funny. All right. You know why he's writing this? He's old. He's looking back with some level of regret. And he's saying to the young people, get your act together for God now. Because there's going to come a time when it's going to be much more difficult. Look at verse 2. I'm going to read it in the King James and in the... did anybody want to comment on that first one? I dare you. Did anybody feel that? Don't lift your hand or anything, but anybody feel that, you know? Okay, so verse 2, while the sun or the light or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after rain. Verse 2 in the NLT. Remember him before the light of the sun and the moon and the stars is dim. He's talking about your old eyes. It actually says it in the NLT. Dim to your old eyes, and the rain clouds continually darken the sky. Man, remember God before your eyes grow dim and you can't see well anymore. Wow. And things begin to grow dark in our lives. Our energy is growing dim, our vision. The easy chair looks better all the time, and our main desire is to go home. Man, I am really discouraged about how quickly you start losing your sight after 50. It's crazy. I mean, we doing our taxes at the table, right? This ain't no lie. I have 2 sets of reading glasses on. Is that the truth, honey? 2 sets. Anybody feel that? Yeah. And I still can't see it. You know what I said? Whoever is making this font needs a whipping, you know? And Tina's like, I don't think it's the font. Okay, it's just like, it's crazy. Verse 3. Let's look at it in the King James first. And in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble. By the way, the keeper of the house is your hands, your legs. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and your grinders. What is your grinders? Your teeth, your choppers. Cease, because they are few. There's not many of them left. And those that look out the windows, they can't see anymore either. It's dark out there. Let's look at it in the NLT. I told you this man is old. He's not writing in theory. He's writing out of understanding. Remember God before your legs, the guards of your house start to tremble. And before your shoulders, the strong men stoop over. Remember him before your teeth are few remaining. Servants, stop grinding. And before your eyes, the women looking through the windows seem dimly. Okay, so remember God before. You know what he's saying? Don't wait till you get old to serve God. Serve him when you're young. Serve him when you're full of life. Serve him early on. It's a good advice. Verse 4, keep going. The doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. Yeah, that's what we do. We lock them too, baby. And we put the deadbolt on them too. And we put the chair up behind them too. When the teeth are not grinding very well. And shall rise up at the voice of the bird. And all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Can't hear anymore either. Oh man, this is depressing, isn't it? Remember him. It's not really though, because it's going to be good. Remember him before the doors to life's opportunity is closed. That is such good advice. Remember God before the door of opportunity of your life is closed and the sound of work fades. My dad used to tell me this, and I just like, I know it's true now, but I didn't realize it then. But he said, there's going to come a time in your life, Kevin, where you can't make this big money that you're making out here in this construction anymore because you ain't got the strength. You can't even see the board anymore. You can't see the mark on the pencil that you put on it. There's going to come a time. You better, and here's what he was saying. You better save your money. You better invest. You better do what you got to do. And by the way, he'd say this all the time. There's going to come a time where you can't make the big money anymore. You better have enough money in the bank to take care of that situation when it comes. And friends, it's coming for all of us. Amen. It's coming for all of us. Solomon is teaching us here. Will we listen? That's the question. All right, look at verse 5. I'll let you comment all you want to in a minute, but let me just go ahead and go through these verses. And this is King James, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, getting on a ladder, fear shall be in the way, and when the almond tree flourishes, What color is the almond tree when it blooms? White. That's what color your hair will be. And the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Remember God before you become fearful of falling and worry about the dangers that are in the street. It's funny, old people, you like, let's go here, let's go there. No. It's dangerous out there. Before your hair turns gray, or even worse, loose, like the almond tree, and you, look at here, you drag along like the grasshopper that's been wounded. Go ahead and laugh. It ain't funny. It ain't funny. But he's telling you this is coming. He's telling you this is coming for sure. Before you lose your sexual drive, remember him before you near the grave, your everlasting home, when all the mourners will weep at your funeral. At least we hope they will. Remember him. Isn't that powerful stuff? All of this stuff happens in a person's life. It's crazy. It's almost like we're seeing this firsthand, you know. I looked in the mirror this morning and I saw a lot of what Solomon was saying. My hair and other wrinkles on my faces. The good news is, though, Tina's found something we can put on our face and it pulls some of the wrinkles out. So it's helpful, yeah. You got some? Oh, man. Yes, Lord. Okay, keep going. Verse 6. He's old. He's giving us some advice. Or ever the silver cord be loosed and the golden bowl be broken, the pitchers be broken at the fountain, or the wheel be broken at the cistern. I love that. Yes, remember your Creator while you're young, before the silver cord of life snaps and your golden bowl is broken. Don't wait till the water jars are smashed at the spring and the pulley is broken at the well. Anybody ever notice as you age, so does your tools? Anybody notice that? So does your lawnmower. So does your ladder. So does everything else. I have a boy that we raised. He come and lived with us and we raised him. He's a good boy. He comes and fishes all the time in our pond. And he told me the other day, I told him the other day, I said, hey, listen, I know I'm getting old. I'm going to die one day. When I die, I want you to have all my tools. Because we work together a lot. And then it dawned on me after he left, all them tools are wore out. I might better rethink what I'm going to give him. Them tools are all wore out, man. Some of them was my dad. He told me they were wore out when he gave them to me. And yeah, I know who wore them out. We did. That's what he's saying right here. Before everything in your life is broken, remember him. Isn't this funny, but it's not? It's true, though, isn't it? For, verse 7, then shall the dust return to the earth. Oh, that's you and me. And the spirit will go back to God who gave it. Let's try it in the NLT. For then the dust will return to the earth and the spirit will return to God. Same thing. Okay, so he's going to give us some closing advice, but he's saying, look, y'all, everybody's going to get old. And when you get old, this is what it looks like. And you know what? I can testify. He's telling the truth. All right. Anybody want to comment on this? I'd love to hear. Nobody young better say anything. I'm totally playing. Go ahead.
I have a theory that, because Solomon, I think, died probably 55 or 60. He wasn't super old, compared to what we think. We thought he was like a 90-year-old man. But if he took over at 15, 18 years old and he reigned for 40 years, he was probably 55, 60 years old. And I have a theory that, he kind of went through a midlife crisis, around 40, because he tried all these things and it had to take a couple of years for him to go through all this stuff. So, I bet when he hit 45, he's you know how when you reach a pinnacle of age, once you hit your 40s, you're oh crap, what am I doing in my life? And then you start trying to chase things, and then after you chase things, you realize it's not good, and you chase more things, and then you kind of get to the end of your life, and it's
I did a funeral.
Let me tell everybody else about this.
Yeah, right. I did a funeral last week, and so we were looking at the pictures before the funeral started, and this guy said basically the same thing. He goes, I said, is that a picture of you? And he goes, yeah. He said, man, brother, he said, that was some hard living back then. So that's what he's talking about, you know. So, yeah. Anybody else want to comment? Tina?
I just Googled, David was about 70 when he was ill and about died, which is young.
I know, I would have thought.
Very young.
But would you believe that the average age, I think around the 1900 was 47 for a man? Now it's closer to 80. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and so Solomon, like he said, he was about, well, I forgot my thought.
It's okay. Oh, that's what happens when you get old. Y'all heard about a guy said he was going up the stairs and he couldn't remember what he was going up there for. So he decided he didn't know that it would be better to go on up there and look around and see if he could find what he was going up there for, or if it should go back down and sit down and try to remember what he was going up there for, or if he should just sit down on the stairs. So he sat down on the stairs for a little bit and he couldn't remember then whether he was going up or going down. So it's tough, isn't it? Tina and I, we laugh about this all the time because we're going through all of this right now. And so it's just a part of life, you know. But, isn't it good to know that you've been serving God for a good long time and you can age with him and it's cool? Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Anybody else want to comment? Surely we can get some wisdom going on here. Go ahead.
In my Bible, it has now the commentary, chapter 12, 8 through 14, where it says everything is meaningless. It says,
All right.
this word hevel, which means meaningless, I guess I pronounced that right, also means a breath, vanity, and vapor. So this could be translated as everything is a breath instead of everything is meaningless.
So I looked it up too when we first started the study, and it said it was the word vanity actually was equivalent to the word a bubble that you blow like out of a little thing, a bubble. It was empty. It was nothing. It was a form, but nothing to it. It was empty. It was a breath. It was exactly what she said. It was nothing. So he's saying basically all of this is nothing. It's, when you're getting old, don't you? It's when your knees buckle and your britches won't. Okay, let's look at the end because we're going to get back to a more favorable scriptures. Yeah. So here's some final advice from him. And if you want to write this down on verse 11, 12, and 13, let me just read the rest of these. Vanity of vanity, says the preacher, everything is vanity. And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yea, he gave good heed and sought out and set in order many, many proverbs. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words which were written, which was upright, even words of truth. The words of the wise are as goads and as nails fastened by the master of the assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. And further, by these, my son, be admonished of making many books. There is no end, and much study of weariness of the flesh. You can't learn everything. Let us hear the conclusion of the matter. Here it is. Ready? Fear God and keep his commandments. This is what he came back to. This is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment, and with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So I have 3 points here in closing. of this book. Here's my final advice to you. Number one, first of all, verse 11, be wise even when it's hard, even when it's not the easiest road. Be wise. Use wisdom even when it's painful. Be wise. Why? Because everything comes back around, y'all. Everything comes back around. Whatever you sow, what's going to happen? You're going to eventually reap it. Verse 12, second thing, number 2. Verse 12, second thing, number 2. Be careful about giving too much advice to people. Number 1, that's the second thing. Be careful about giving too much advice. Number 1, people don't want to hear it. They just, Tina and I have had this saying forever in our house, but people don't care how much you know. They just want to know how much you care. They don't want your advice. By the way, I've never counseled anybody in all these 35, 40 years, however long it's been that I've been counseling people that didn't already know what to do. Come on, somebody. They come into my office and I tell them, first of all, I listen to them. They tell me what they should do based on what's wrong with their situation. Then I just affirm what they just said. Yep, that's what you need to do. You already know it. So I'm not saying they wasted my time and theirs, but they already knew. They don't want to hear it. They just want to know you care. Are you willing to sit there and listen to them? Number 3, verse 13, fear God and obey his commandments. That's the whole deal. Okay, now chapter 11 is a great chapter. Here's what it is. The end of chapter 10 and the chapter 11 are just a whole bunch of proverbs of great wisdom. Okay, so if you're coming tonight and maybe you want to be a wise person, you want to excel in wisdom like Solomon, you want to grow in wisdom, which I really, really do, this is a great night for you, and these are 2 great chapters, okay? And we're going to look at several of these tonight and talk about them. I want to read verses 1 through 6, and then we'll break it down, okay? Let me get my phone going again, and I'll read it in both the King James and the NLT. So chapter 11, look there with me, verses 1 through 6. King James first. Cast your bread upon the waters, for thou shalt find after many days. You'll find it after many days. Give a portion to 7, also to 8, for you know it's not what evil shall come upon the earth. Now already we've had 2 verses of wisdom. I wonder how many people read that and they don't have a clue what it means. And if you don't, that's good. You're in the right place tonight. We're going to talk about it. If the clouds be full of rain, verse 3, they empty themselves upon the earth. And if the tree falls towards the south or towards the north, the place where it falls, there shall it be. You go, is that really great wisdom? Well, hang on. Let's talk about it, okay? He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap. As thou knowest not what is the way of the Spirit, nor how the bones do grow in the womb of her that is with child, even so thou knowest not the works of God who maketh all things. And then finally, verse 6, in the morning sow your seed, in the evening withhold not thine hand, for thou knowest not whether it shall prosper, either this or that, whether both shall be good. Let me go back and read it in the NLT. It makes a little bit different thoughts in our brain here. Send your grain across the sea, verse 1, and in time profits will flow back to you. But divide your investments among many places, for you do not know what risks may lie ahead. When the clouds are heavy, the rains come down. Whether a tree falls north or south, it stays right where it falls. Farmers who wait for perfect weather never plant. If they watch every cloud, they never harvest. Just as you cannot understand the path of the wind or the mystery of a tiny baby growing in a mother's womb, so you cannot understand the activity of God who does all things. Plant your seed in the morning. Keep busy all afternoon, for you don't know if it will profit will come from one activity or another activity, or maybe both. Okay, this is some good stuff. So let's go to, first of all, I want you to notice in these 6 verses, 4 times it says, you don't know. Did y'all notice that? In these verses, 4 times it says, look at verse 2. it says, give a portion to 7, also to 8, for you don't know. Verse 5, as you don't know. Verse 5 again, no one knows the works of God. Verse 6, for you don't know. So one of the themes of these first 6 verses is that we don't know what's going to happen in life. How many of you can tell me what's going to happen tomorrow? Nobody. Why? Because you don't know, and I don't know, okay? So we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, probably if you do the right thing's going to happen, right? But we don't know, okay? So number 1, you ought to jot some things down here because there is a lot of wisdom Solomon gives us in this stuff. Point number 1 is we don't know what will happen in life, okay? We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. That's just a fact. It may be good, it may be great, it may not be, okay? So verse 1, we don't know what's going to take place tomorrow. Cast your bread upon the water. And before I read verse 1, let me just also say this, though. Point number 1, we don't know what's going to happen. On your paper there, point number 2, we're not in control of the future. God is. We're not in control of the future. God is. And number 3, don't let that stop you because you don't know from being a risk taker. Just because you don't know what's going to happen, don't let that stop you from being a risk taker. Don't create a lot of excuses like a lot of people in the Bible did in the Bible. Remember the guy with the talents? He gave so many to the first, so many to the second, so many to the third. What did the third guy do? He didn't know what was going to happen in the marketplace. He didn't know what was going to happen in investments. He didn't know what was going to happen in life. So he hid his talent. And then when the Lord came back, that's the same as God's given you talent, me talent. He wants us to invest that, put it in the marketplace, watch it grow. But we go, well, we don't know what's going to happen. So he's saying, don't let that stop you because you don't know. Okay, so number 3, don't let that stop you. So let's put all of this together and try to understand what's being said here in verse 1. Invest now. Here it is right here. Invest now for the future. Return because you don't know what the markets will do later. Invest now for the future. He talks about a ship going over to another country. It's risky. It's risky for that ship to go all the way over to another country. Maybe the weather will get it. Maybe you get over there and they don't want it. Maybe the guys will make it back. Maybe they won't make it back. It's risky. But he says to us, invest now in the future because in the marketplace, there's money to be made. You don't know what the interest rate will become. You don't know what the price of commodities will be and all of those kind of things you don't know. I have a good friend. I say he's a good friend. He seems like a good friend. The bread man, that is the bread man for Brookshire's. We meet every Sunday morning at 6 o'clock at Brookshire's. We don't know each other's names, but we talk like we're best friends. Okay? And so I like this guy, and he obviously likes me a little too. And so we talk, man, we have a good time talking. He just seems like a really good friend to me. Anyway, he told me, he said, hey, Kev, he didn't say my name. He don't know my name. He said, hey, I'm going to be retiring. I said, man, how long have you been at the bread place? He said, 54 years. Wow. I said, 54 years. My goodness, I bet you've seen a lot of changes in 54 years, haven't you? He said, yes. He said, when I first started, the price of bread that we sold to the store was 17 cents. The loaves that I had in the buggy was $3.28. You don't know. I mean, I can think of the first lot that we bought on Lake Livingston. We paid $6,000 or $7,000 for. Right now, if you could find one, they'd be $100,000 or more. You don't know. The first house that we built was probably $10,000 to $12,000 out of our pocket. How many of you can remember when you bought a car for $4,000 or $5,000 brand new? Yeah, you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. So you know what he says? He says, invest, even though it seems risky, invest in the future because you don't know what's going to happen. Let me say it another way. If you want to write this down, write it down. Do good now because you're going to be rewarded later. Man, that's a whole different way of looking at it. Do good now. I was talking to a friend on the phone before I came in here, and he was talking about, stuff that has happened. I said, look, friend, I won't tell you his name because it was a personal call. I said, look, friend, you go ahead and do what's right. Here's what's going to happen. God is going to bring that right back into your business, and you're going to reap that benefit of that time and time again by doing what was right. So you don't know. So what he's saying is this: invest for the future, because in time it'll come back around. If the ship will come home hopefully one day, and it'll bring great profit for you. And then he says it another way: do good in people's lives right now. Do good in people's lives right now, even if you're not seeing a cotton picking thing coming from all the good you're doing. Why? Do good in people's lives right now, because you don't know in the future what God will bring out of what you've done good. I stopped one day and helped a person that was broke down. I can't remember if my wife was with me or not, but I think she was. But we stopped and helped thousands of people over time. And then she told me about a story at our first church where it was dark and she got broke down on the side of the road in our new van that we had bought, and it had a flat tire. And she said this guy, I'm not even sure that he had both arms. I think one of them might have been a withered arm. But a guy stopped, and anyway, she was scared to death. It was dark, and he came up there and he said, ma'am, he said, don't unlock your door, don't roll down your window, I'm going to change your tire. Listen, I really believe with all my heart that some doing good beforehand brought about some doing good then on her behalf, okay? I really believe that with all my heart. So he's saying, make that investment in your life, because you don't know how it's going to pay off. It's really, really good advice. This is great stuff to teach your kids. Invest now in the future. You know what? It seems like you ought to teach your kids now while they don't have any bills. Invest now in the future. You don't know what's going to happen to the markets. And number 2, second verse, let me say, well, let's go on to the next one. Number 3. Oh, you know what that is? I'm sorry. Number 1 is still on the first verse. Invest now. Number 2 is do good now. And number 3 is sow your seed now, and you'll reap a harvest later. How many of you know, did that make any sense now? I fouled it all up. That's all on the first verse. Okay, so A, B, and C. Sow your seed now, and you'll reap a harvest later. Listen, let's reverse that. Number 4, if you don't sow now, you shouldn't expect anything later. If you don't sow now, you shouldn't expect an increase later. That's just good sound advice. I'm planting a garden, I always do. My potatoes are up about this much. I talked to Brad the other day, and his girls, Landry, she loves to do these purple hull peas. Last year we had so many peas in the freezer, I told Brad, we didn't even plant them last year. We had so many. He's like, I know. Y'all didn't give us any. I said, well, we're going to do better this year. Anyway, I'm planting a garden. But how many of you know, if I weren't out there working the garden last night and planting the seeds, I shouldn't expect for a harvest. It's the same way financially, doing good or whatever that is. You're not, let me say it as kind as I can, you're not going to reap what you don't sow. So sow good now and expect to reap a good harvest. And I'm not talking about a garden. I'm just talking about a life. Look at the second verse, okay? He talks about give a portion to 7, also to 8. For you don't know what evil shall come upon the earth. I love this verse. I want to say it to you a couple different ways. Do you want to jot them down? First of all, the first way I want to say it to you is give generously to others now while you can. Because who knows if maybe you may need others to give to you one day. Oh, man. That's so good. Give generously to others now while you can afford it. Remember what I told you my dad said? Man, we've been into the big money while we was young, but there's coming a day where we won't be in the big money no more. So when you're in the big money, sow some of that big money into people's lives, because there may come a time in the future in your life where you need somebody who's in the big money then to sow back into your life. Man, that's good advice. Thank you, Solomon. That's powerful. Let me say it another way, okay? Don't put all your eggs in one financial basket. Look at it again. Give a portion to how many? 7 or 8, not 1. Don't put all of your eggs in the same basket. Just in case one area of life takes a downturn, invest in many areas, 7 or 8. Or more, or whatever, so that there's more security in many things than there are just one. I've been very narrow-minded in this. I love land and I love houses. And I've been so narrow in this, but I've tried to expand a few times, but I don't know anything else. But it's not good. I've seen the house market fall out. I've seen the bottom fall out of it. It's always came back. Thank God it has, because that's where all of our investments are. But here's wisdom right here. It's wisdom that I never have been able really to put into practice until my older years, to be honest with you. But we've you know, I'm not saying we hadn't tried a lot of things. We owned a car lot one time. We didn't know anything about it, but we made some good money. But we've tried this and we tried that. Listen, invest in 7 or 8. Don't just get one narrow thing. What if the market falls out on your one thing? And then you lose it all. Here's the good news. If you're invested in more than one thing, like for example, if the real estate goes down and gold goes up, you're still okay. You invested in both. You see the wisdom here? I'm plowing along here, man. I didn't even give y'all a chance to comment on the first verse. Let me maybe put it in another way, okay? Well, I tell you what. Anybody want to comment on those first 2 verses that we've talked about so far? Anybody want to add to that good wisdom?
Doing good.
Anybody want to ask a question about those things?
What if you've already passed that young, making all this big money and, you're on the down slope? So what
I
do you
used to
do?
play a video game, and it used to end like something like this. And like one of the movies that we watched where this Indian chief, here's what he said about that, and that is all I have to say. That's it. You can't go back.
Nope.
You can't go back. You can't go back. Remember what he said in the last chapter? He didn't say do all this when you're old, did he?
No.
He said do it all when you're what?
Young.
You're young. You know, it's funny because we don't have that wisdom a lot of times when we're young. It's not until we get older, and then my dad used to say it like this, man. I hated to hear it, but it was so wise. He said, when you're young, you don't have the money, and when you're old, you don't have the desire. And we've got to get it together. You want to comment?
I was just going to say, still, you can do it now. You can still give now. No matter where you're at in life, the principles that are there. You just
That's a good point. I was thinking about investments.
Yeah,
But what
that's
she was
I'm
saying,
talking about.
that was a great point. Were y'all able to hear her back there? Okay, she said, you may not be able to go back and get in the marketplace, but you still can give. And it still can come back on you. And not only that, but y'all, I want to tell you this, one of the beauties of this is we have given into our family's future. That's what's one of the beauties of starting young is the blessing that they'll receive, because we ain't taking it with us. Go ahead.
I didn't know she was talking about investment, but as far as from a practical standpoint, what Solomon's talked about is remember your Creator, and go home, eat a steak.
Yeah.
You can still do that.
You can still do that, can't you? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Or back like we said last week, the guy that was sitting on the pier, right? You don't have to make all that money to be able to relax. You can just go ahead and relax. Eat a steak, drink some coffee. Yeah, that was good last week. Very good. Anybody else want to comment on what we're talking about? Go ahead, Mike.
My dad told me when I was a kid, he said, if you're not making money while you're asleep, you'll never get ahead.
Okay, so that's sound advice. Let me tell you what my dad said. This stuff's worth writing down, y'all. It's old people who's figured out a couple things. My dad used to say, all you'll ever make working is a living.
Yeah.
Now, think deeply. The only way to make more than a living is to take what you're making and invest it. Let's say it again. All that you'll ever make working is a living. If you don't do something with what you're making, then you're just going to work for the rest of your life, which is fine, and you're going to make a living and you're going to die. But if you take a portion of what you're making each week or month or whatever that looks like, and you invest it and you do well, then at some point you should have wealth. So that's great advice, Mike. That was great advice from my dad. Michelle?
My dad used to say, you can either pay interest or make interest.
So I went to this, you can either pay people interest or you can make interest. There's no better advice on the planet than that right there. So I went to this deal. Tina and I we got married. We was so broke, y'all. We was broke. I don't know how to explain it any further than that. Broke. And I told Tina, she asked me what I wanted to do with my life. And I said, the only thing I know for sure is I don't want to be broke. I've been that already, and I didn't like it. So I drove back and forth to Houston. We was living in Livingston on Monday nights, and I went to this Common Sense. Anybody ever read that magazine called Common Sense? If you're an investor, I'm sure you have. It's old. Probably have another one. Yeah, me and Paul's read it. We're both old, okay? So there you go. But anyway, they had teachers up there that would teach about mutual funds, annuities, investment, real estate, everything. And they'd have different speakers every week. It was so good. I would leave there as high as a kite. I'm going to do it. And then life would happen on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'd go back on Monday. I'd leave there as high as a kite, right? Well, they had this big timer. A lot of these guys would start off with nothing. And they had made millions and millions and millions of dollars. And at that point, they didn't even care about the money. It was just something, you know. But anyway, that wasn't where we were at. And so we were there trying to learn how. But anyway, this guy one night, it changed my life. What I'm about to tell you changed my life. I paid $3,000 for this. I'm going to let you have it for free. Okay? It was worth $300,000. It was worth $3 million. Anyway, here's what he said. You know, in every group, you always have one or two, three big mouths. Anybody ever gone to a class? And there's always one, two people that they talk all the time. And, you know, anyway, we had one of those guys. And this guy was talking. And so anyway, at the break that we took, this big mouth in our class asked the guy, said, man, why don't you cut to the chase and tell us how to make money? We're getting coffee and cookies. And I'm listening. And this guy, it's like, I hate to eavesdrop on your conversation, but I'm going to move a little closer over here to the coffee bar. The guy said, you want to know how to make money? I'll tell you. Man, now I'm really listening. He said, you ought to write this down. This is a $3 million statement. It could be worth $3 billion. Anyway, he said, there are some people who pay interest. And there are some people who get paid interest. When he said that, I actually didn't know what he meant. I'm an 18, 19-year-old kid. I didn't have a clue. We broke all of our lives. I'm going to say it again so you can write it down. There are some people who pay interest. And there are some people who get paid interest. Here's the point. When you buy a car and you pay interest, how many prices did you pay for that car? Yeah, maybe 2, maybe 3 times what the car's worth is what you pay. When you buy a house for $200,000 and you pay interest, how much you think you're going to pay for that house? 4, 5, depending on what the rate is. If you got in on some of that 3% they had a few years ago, maybe not so bad. So if you buy a house for $200 and you pay $400, how much did you actually give for that house? Twice as much as what it's worth. Same with your car. Same with everything you buy that you're paying interest on. So here's what he's saying. You're losing twice by paying interest. Suppose you did this. Suppose you bought a car with no interest. You say, well, that's not possible. It's possible every day. Last night on TV, I saw Toyota's having, on certain cars, 0 interest. 0 interest. Chevrolet dealership has it from time to time. Ford Place has it. 0 interest. Suppose you buy a car with 0 interest. Now you're paying what the car's worth. Okay? Suppose you saved your money and used your labor and you built a house. And you paid minimal or hardly any interest at all. you're paying 2 or 3 times. Okay, so that's the first point. That's only point 1. Imagine the money you would save in your lifetime if you weren't paying all this interest and giving all this away to somebody. So that was the first point. And I was intelligent enough, didn't know it at the time, to figure that out. But I hadn't figured out the second part yet. The second part is there are some people who get paid interest. We used to build a house and we'd sell it. And let's say we built the house, we would make $30,000, $40,000 off building the entire house. When I was out there in the sweat, blood, and tears building houses, making $30,000 building the entire house, along came the banker. He would get out in his suit and Mercedes-Benz. He'd look at the house and he'd say, "Good job, Kevin. Everything looks really good." He'd get back in his car and he'd drive back to the bank. How much is he making? Okay, if it's a $200,000 house, he's making $200,000, I'm making $30,000 for doing all the work. So when I figured the second part out, I never sold another house again for cash. I had 2 houses. I built 2 houses in Carthage over by the park, both of them nice brick houses. Lady drives up in a Mercedes. We'd put the signs out on them. She said, "Is both of these houses for sale?" She was from California. "I want to buy them. I'm going to go to the bank and get a loan." I said, we don't sell houses like that. I'll finance it. And I'll give you 1% under the bank. And I've already done the survey, appraisal, everything's already done. You don't have to pay any of that, no points, 0 points. But I want the interest. And watch this now. If you buy a house for $200,000 and you pay interest, you're going to pay $400,000. Suppose you didn't pay the $400,000 and you use the other $200,000 to build a really nice house. And then let's say you sold it for $200,000 or $250,000 and you carried the interest. Now you made $500,000. So you went from over here not paying $200,000 for interest, and over here you made an extra $500,000 on one deal. That's $700,000. You almost turned $1 million on one gig. Suppose you do that 10 times, 15, 20, 30. That's what the man was saying. It took a while to figure it out, but we did. But it's the same thing Solomon's saying. It's such sound advice. Stop giving all your money away and make it work for you. Make your money work for you instead of your money working for somebody else. Okay? That's good sound advice. Paul, go ahead.
When we first started coming here, you taught a seminar in the back. It's called The Power of Interest.
That's right.
One of the best I've ever heard, and I've heard a lot of them.
Well, thank you.
I wish you would do it again.
Well, we will. I say that. We can do it on a Wednesday night sometimes if anybody's interested, because I'm not the pastor anymore. I just remembered that too. You know, it's like it just dawned on me. I'm not the pastor anymore. So and then there's that, right? Okay, so don't put all of your eggs in one basket. That's his point. 7 or 8. Isn't that powerful? That's such great wisdom. 7 or 8, he says. Where are we at? Verse 3. Anybody want to comment?
Well, I'm glad my youngest daughter and her husband has learned what you're doing, because they are investing.
It's
A lot of different things.
Mike and my dad, probably neither one of them ever invested, but before they died, they understood it. I know my dad never had the money, he said, to invest. Well, he did a few times, but they understood the principle, and they tried to teach it to their kids. That's so important. You know, I tell you, if you have young kids at home, you would do well to set them down and talk to them about interest. Talk to them about investments. Talk to them about that stuff. You think, well, they won't get it. They will get it. They will get it. They'll get it. Our kids have been blessed because of it. Can I tell you one other story? We're going to get off track here, but I love this story. I tried to teach my kids all this early in life, but I took my kids by a piece of property I'd bought. It was just overgrown with everything on it. And I stopped. I pulled the truck over, and we got out, and we just rolled down the windows, and I looked out there and I said, "What do y'all see?" And there was Michelle and Josh and my older son Fred, and they looked out there, and it wasn't nothing to see but a bunch of trees and junk, some old barbed wire fence. We just bought it. And Michelle, I think she was the first one that spoke. She spoke up and she said, Daddy, I don't see anything but just blah, 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 So I said, I'd see 2 brick houses with nice driveways and trees planted. And I see green St. Augustine grass. And they're looking out there. I told Josh, I said, Josh, do you see it? I asked my oldest son, Fred, I said, Fred, do you see it? This was really weird, too. He said, yes, Daddy. I see it. I said, that's interesting. Rolled the window up and we left. I came back, we cleared the property off, built 2 nice brick houses, poured the driveways, planted trees, put the grass down. And I brought them right back to the same place, and I rolled the window down, pulled the truck over, and I looked out the window and I said, what do y'all see? I said, I see 2 brick houses with driveways and trees and grass. Do you see it, Michelle? Yes, Daddy, I see it. Josh, do you see it? Yes. Fred, do you see it? Yes. I said, anybody can see it when it's done. But the visionarian can see it before it ever happens. You've got to be able to see what other people cannot see if you're going to be successful in life. That's the good stuff to teach your kids. Powerful. It'll help them greatly. Okay, verse 3. This is so good. This is so good. If clouds are full of rain, they're going to empty out. When you read this, you go, well, that's nothing. If a tree falls to the south or to the north, it's going to lay there. Write this down. This is so good. Don't go against the great odds in life and have to hope upon a miracle. Look, if it's cloudy and it's lightning and thunder and it's going to rain, don't bet against that. If the tree falls down, it's going to lay there. Don't bet against that. Don't go against the odds in life. You're going to hurt yourself. Things are going to happen the way things happen, and people bet against it all the time. That's stupid. That's foolish. When a tree falls down to the north, you know where it's going to land and lay there? To the north. Don't bet against that. Oh, man, it's 100 to 1 odds. I know, and you're going to lose. Don't bet against that. Okay, I just love that verse. Verse 4. I don't know why, but I do. It's just good wisdom. He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap. Wow. Just common good wisdom. I had a friend, one time I was going to help him roof his house, and our first pastor, he was an older guy, and this guy was tough. And it was like 70% chance of rain. So I called him and I said, hey, brother, it's not a good idea, I don't think, today. Tear that roof off, 70% chance. And he quoted this verse. He that regardeth the clouds will never get any work done. I said, okay. I should have quoted him another verse. Because, brother, it rained like cats and dogs on us. I say, hey, don't bet against that, man. You betting against 70% odds in somebody else's favor? That ain't good. But there is some wisdom. On the flip side of this, here's the wisdom, okay? On the flip side of this, jot this down if you got paper. If you wait for everything to be just right before you do anything, you're never going to get anything done. Come on, somebody. If you wait for everything to be just right, if you're waiting for certainty, 100% odds in your favor, I know people who they won't pull the trigger. If it's 100% in their favor, they still won't pull the trigger. I'm like, what are you waiting on? You're acting like my age, getting afraid to invest or whatever. If you're waiting for certainty, you're never going to do anything. That's what Solomon's saying. Anybody want to comment on that? This is so good. This stuff is so powerful. Verse 5. I don't know. I keep saying that. I like it. As you know, you don't know. You don't know. What is the way of the Spirit, or how the bones were growing in a mother's womb? You don't know. You don't know the way God's working. There are plenty of things that we'll never understand in life. I'm going to give you the wisdom of this verse. Are you ready? Here it is in a nutshell. There are plenty of things in this life that you're never going to understand. Get past it. Get over it. Go on with it. Accept it and move on. There's a lot of things in life that didn't turn out the way I thought they would. Anybody else? You know what you do with that? You get past it and you go on. It's good wisdom. Man, this is good. This is good. You don't know what's going to happen. So plenty of things are going to not go your way. Accept it and go on. Verse 6. In the morning sow your seed, and in the evening withhold not your hand. For you don't know what's going to prosper, and you don't know what's not going to prosper, or whether both of them are going to do good. Okay, you ready for this one? Here it is. Get out there and work hard, be diligent, because you don't know what's going to pay off in your life in the end. Get out there and work hard over here in this area and work hard over here in this area. You don't know what's going to pay off in the end. Here's another way of putting it. Stop being lazy and careless and get out there in the marketplace and let good things happen. I always used to say this to people that I know. They was like, man, I'm looking for the right kind of job. I'm looking for the right deal. I'm looking for the right investment. I'm looking for the right this. I always said, man, you know what's really funny to me? We'd be out there roofing houses for people, one of the hardest, hottest jobs that there is. And while we're roofing a house, this guy wanted to sell this piece of land next door. And we were there, so I can't tell you the times. I bought 2 lots one time, 4 lots. I bought 4 lots one time for $5,000. Because while we were there that day, the guy needed to sell them, and he needed the money real bad. And I wrote him a check for the $5,000 and bought 4 lots. And I just sold them a couple of years ago for a whole bunch. You just don't ever know. You know what that means? If you get out there in the marketplace, good things happen. But if you're sitting on your rear end at the house, it ain't nothing going to happen.
Amen. Hey, I've managed to give you a bunch of boxes, kid.
There's good wisdom in that. Here's another one. Get out there and use your talents. Don't bury them. Don't hide them. Use them. Anybody want to comment? I'm having all the fun up here. Y'all are stressed out there. What's going on? Anybody want to comment? Anybody want to tell us a story? How you've used wisdom, how it's worked out for you? We're interested. All right.
Oh, I ain't very smart, yes.
Okay, well, let's keep going then. These first 6 verses, here's how you can sum these up. So we have 4 things in these first 6 verses. And I have the numbers down there for you, okay? So jot them down if you want to. Number 1, have a diversified portfolio. Diversify your investments. Have a diversified portfolio. While we was in the car business, we was also in the house business. We was also in this business and that business. You just never know. You don't know what's going to do good. And it's funny because one year one of them will do really good and the other one may not. And next year the other one may do really good. And you turn around and the next, what you thought was dead has come alive again, even better. And then sometimes it don't. And sometimes you just lose money in that area. You got to bury that and go on. Any investors lost any money in your life? Yeah, that happens, doesn't it? Okay. Anyway, number 2. So diversify your investments. That's good advice. That's what Solomon tells you. Number 2, be generous to others, and others will be generous to you. We're just summing it up. Be generous to others, and others will be generous to you.
I don't know about that one. 'Cause I've been generous to a lot of people. All I've gotten is stabbed in the back.
Just keep plowing. Your ship hasn't come in yet. Don't mean it won't, though. You know, while we was the pastor of this church, I hate to tell you all of our business, but y'all ain't telling us yours. So, while we's pastored in our life, we've given. When we owned a car lot, there was a lady that had 3 boys, good, finest boys you ever seen. and one of them turned 16. There was no way she's ever going to get to buy him a car. So I told him, come on over to the car lot and pick out any car you want. We're going to give you it. We've just been generous. All of our, just generous. We've given away houses, cars. As a matter of fact, the lady here, Rebecca, that's come here forever, she came over from Africa and couldn't drive, didn't have any vehicle. We gave her a car. It's been fun. It's been so fun. But while we was the pastor here, 10 years in, I told the board we're going to build us a house because one day we're going to get old and nobody's going to want us anymore. It's painful, you know? So anyway, they say, well, we'd like to table that. I was like, table it? I was like, I wasn't really asking for permission. I was just letting y'all know we're not moving. We're not leaving. We're just building our own house. Anyway, we tabled it. I didn't know why. So we came back the next month for the board meeting. I said, fellas, I don't know what happened last month, but I told you, I was just making y'all aware that we wanted to build a house because we're going to get old. And David was in the meeting, I'm sure, and because he's been on the board forever. Look how old he is, y'all. I mean, it's like, you know. And so, anyway, Brother Larry was kind of leading it all up. Was you in that meeting, David? Anyway, he said the reason we tabled it was because we want to give you the house. And I was like, so Larry said, we've talked about it. You go buy your land and then build whatever house you want to build, and we're going to give it to you. Be generous to others, and others will be. Just keep sowing, brother. Your ship will come in, I promise you. It's just the most beautiful thing. God's word is true and it cannot lie. It's just such a blessing. Okay, so number 3, work hard and it'll pay off in the end. How many of you teaching the people following you that? There's such doesn't exist in our world anymore. But we taught every one of our kids and our grandkids best we can, go to your job and work harder than anybody. Don't look around and see everybody that's just blowing off and not doing anything. Listen, they're going to get what they deserve sooner or later. And if you go there and be the hardest working person on that job, either 2 things will happen. You either get promoted to the very top or you'll end up owning the place. That's what I tell all of our kids. You work harder than anybody. You give more than anybody. You show them what a Christian work ethic looks like, and you'll either be at the very top or you'll own the place. Taught y'all that all of our lives, didn't we, baby? Okay, number 4. So we have, number 1, diversify your investments. Number 2, be generous to others. Others will be generous to you. Number 3, work hard. It'll pay off in the end. And then number 4, life is unpredictable. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Instead, trust God. Okay? So life is very unpredictable. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Trust God. Don't put your trust in things. What if you put your trust in money or things and then it doesn't happen? You're going to be bummed out. Your trust is going to be blown up. Put your trust in God, and God will give you things, and there may be things disappear, and then he'll give you more things, but he's going to take care of you. Money's not the issue. You're not taking it with you anyway. You can only spend so much anyway. It's not the issue. It's one less thing to have to worry about if you don't have to worry about it anymore. Right? And most of us never get there. But anyway, life is unpredictable. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Listen, a lot of people get bummed out when they've made investments and they don't pay off. That happens. That happens in life. But at the same time, other things will pay off. Okay, we're going to take half this chapter 10, and we're going to be done, or whatever we can get to in the few minutes we got left. But before we do, anybody want to comment? You guys started off really good, and then you've grown quiet on me. Okay, good. We got 3 or 4 hands up. Good.
I was just going to say, I'm going to look the scripture up because sometimes in my mind I quote something and I quote it and I'm not quite sure it's there. But I didn't look it up. But I'm pretty sure the scripture says somewhere, work that you may have to give. We've talked a lot about working to get, I guess, or give.
To have.
Get, and
Yeah.
to have, but also just simply work that you may have to give.
Yeah.
You know.
Sound advice. That was one of our points. Be generous and people will be generous to you. But, if you're working and you're just selfish, it's no fun. Go ahead.
My father-in-law, he gave his investment advice is that, he goes, you can invest your lot of things, but the one thing you don't invest your time or money in is a Dallas Cowboys.
I know he didn't say that. Okay, I saw a couple more hands. Okay, go ahead, brother.
I was going to say, like, you should be charging for some of this stuff.
I should be charging for some of this. Listen, I'm just glad that we figured out a couple things. There's a lot more to learn, I know for sure. Anybody else want to comment? Okay, Michelle.
I was going to say, last week I called my dad as a joke because Lowe's gave me my order, but they kept sending me text messages to come pick up the order, and it was a refrigerator. So when I went in, I said, y'all keep sending me these text messages to pick my order up. And she said, yeah, you want us to pull it around? And I'm like, I already got it. And so I told my dad, I'm like, why you got to make me so honest? I could It pays off.
Honesty is the best. Anybody else want to comment on what we're talking about? Oh, good. That's so much fun. Well, I tell you what, we actually have finished all of it, but a half of a chapter. But our pastor wants to talk to us about something important coming up in the next several weeks. So we're going to close there. I love this book of Ecclesiastes. It's been so much fun. And before he takes the microphone, y'all, one of the best books of the Bible to teach, in my opinion, and I've been doing this a long time, is the book of Genesis. And that's where we're going to start when we come back with creation. It's going to be so powerful. And then after Genesis, we're going to jump from the beginning of the Bible all the way to the end and look at those 22 chapters of Revelation again. So we'll go from 50 chapters of Genesis. That may take us a year or however long. Really? You're laughing, but that's true. It may not. I don't know, but it could. But then we'll go to those 22 chapters of Revelation. That'll take a while too. Pastor, come on. We love you.